to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brianne and this is Diary of a Homemaker. On this channel, we share a ton of home cooking, a ton of thrifting, and home projects. And today I'm excited to share a Sunday kitchen restock video. On Sundays, I typically set up our week for success by making a couple or even a few items just to help prepare for busy times. Today I am making a few different things and I'm very excited to share them. First off, we're going to start making our homemade marshmallows. It is summer and summer calls for bonfires and bonfires call for marshmallows. This recipe is super simple and it only takes just 3 ingredients. All you're going to need is half a cup of water and 3 tablespoons of beef gelatin added into the stand mixer bowl. Give that a quick stir and that gelatin is just going to absorb all of that water. In your saucepan, you add half a cup of water and 1 to 2 cups of sugar. It really depends on the sweetness level you're looking for. I have found the more sugar you add, the denser the marshmallow. So if you're looking for a fluffier marshmallow, you're going to want to cut back on the sugar just a little bit. You're going to cook that down until it really strings off the spoon. And so once you've reached that consistency, which only takes about 5 minutes, you're just going to add that to the mixer bowl. Be so careful because this is so hot, it can burn you, and you're going to crank that up all the way. This part does take just a little bit of patience, but once it gets going very fast. Once there is just a little bit of a whiter color, you can go ahead and add your vanilla. Now, I don't measure my vanilla. It's kind of a measure by the heart things, and so I probably added 1 teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons. Again, measure with your heart, just add it. It's going to be fine. While that is mixing, you are going to want to go ahead and butter your casserole dish. This stuff is extremely sticky and you're going to want to be prepared whenever it comes time. You can see here it's not quite ready. It's going to be stringing off the spoon and that is not the consistency that you're looking for. If you're looking for more of a marshmallow cream, this consistency right here would probably work for you, but that is not the consistency that we're looking for marshmallows. So I do go ahead and turn the mixer on again. It took maybe 4 or 5 additional minutes to get it to the right consistency. You're just going to have to be patient. Again, this doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take a little bit. So total time, I'd say start to finish, maybe 15 minutes. Just keep it going until you reach the consistency that you're looking for. And once you're there, you can go ahead and put it into your casserole dish. Again, marshmallows are so incredibly simple to make. If you have never made them, I just really encourage you to tackle this. I buy my beef gelatin from Azure Standard. If you have been here any length of time, I know you've heard me talk about Azure. I love them. They're a great company. I love supporting them and I purchase a ton of products from them. So I will be sure to link this below in the comments. But you're just going to want to smooth this out and it's probably not going to be pretty. It's fine. It's going to taste amazing. I promise you. So now that it's spread into the dish, you can just stick that in the fridge. These set up rather quickly, so about 30 minutes, and you can have fresh, homemade, from scratch marshmallows. I have kept these in the fridge for up to 5 days. I probably wouldn't keep them in there much longer because they are made from beef gelatin. So while those are setting, I am going to get started on my buns. This is my favorite bun recipe. I found this recipe on TikTok and I have played around with it just a little bit. I bought myself a grain mill a few months ago and I am not confident in sharing any milling recipes just yet, but when I'm there, I'll be sure to jump onto that for you guys. This was made with just regular all-purpose organic unbleached flour that I get from Costco. I actually shared my recent Costco haul a couple days ago, and so be sure to go back and watch that. This recipe is so simple. I promise you can do this. I ended up using the same recipe for the hot dog buns and the hamburger buns, and I've actually never used this for hot dog buns until today, but I knew how pillowy soft this recipe is, and so I really wanted to try that on the hot dog buns. I think if you wanted to be a perfectionist, you could definitely weigh each handful out and make sure that they're identical in size. But I know I've mentioned this before, I'm just not a perfectionist on a lot of things. And so I don't have time for that. I don't have time to measure each handful to make sure that it's exact. So I just grab a little bit. If I think it's too much, then I will take a little bit off. I will say these buns get huge, and so just be mindful of how big of a dough ball that you have, because I've had these where I thought they were a decent size and then I baked them and they were ginormous. So I ended up making 8 here, and then I did a full tray of, I think, 10 hot dog buns, and I ended up having more. So you will see that I go back and add another row of 4 hamburger buns to this tray. If you are brand new to making bread products, this is the one for you. This recipe is so simple. It calls for basic ingredients. The rise time is not very much. I promise you, you can do this. Homemade bread, I feel like, is kind of the gateway into cooking from scratch. And if you can make bread, you can make a ton of things. Once you have reached this point, I will go ahead and just cover these with a tea towel. These will just set for about 30 minutes for a final rise, and then I'll show you how I do an egg wash. But while those are rising, I do want to get started on my sandwich loaf bread. This is a Pullman pan. I love this pan. I usually never use the lid that comes with it. I just find that I really like whenever the bread puffs up and I get that really puffy top. I will say today my bread did not turn out great, and that's okay. Sometimes that's going to happen. I believe I just didn't let it sit for long enough to let it rise, and whenever I put it into the oven, what rise I did have, I deflated. So that was my mistake, and that's okay. I feel like a big part of home cooking is just letting go of that perfectionism that commercially made food has. Homemade food has charm, and when it's not perfect, you know it's homemade. And I think that's beautiful. So I did go ahead and just roll that bread into more of a loaf, and then I tucked in the ends and I stretched it out just a little bit. I put it in the pan, and this is going to rise for about 45 minutes. This really is a great recipe, and I encourage you to try it. Just my recipe today did not turn out well. Again, my fault. So while that rises, I am going to show you how I do my egg wash. And this is key. Do not skip this step. This is going to give you that beautiful golden color. I have used egg, I have used half and half, I have used milk, I have used a mixture of egg and milk. This really just depends on what I have on hand. I did use this wash on both the hamburger buns and the hot dog buns, but I only end up adding sesame seeds to the hamburger buns. I feel like the sesame seeds really give it that finishing touch, and you can never go wrong with sesame seeds. I want to say I tripled this recipe. I may have doubled it, I cannot remember, but I ended up with 1 whole tray of hamburger buns and 1 whole tray of hot dog buns. We ended up having buns for the week, and everything extra that I have, I ended up putting in the freezer. This is a really great trick to stock your freezer. The mess is already done, you've already made them, and so you might as well double or triple a recipe, and that's going to give you enough for that meal, and then you can be able to simply pull some from the freezer on a later date. I am going to show you what these buns look like whenever I pull them out of the oven. They are perfectly golden. I did use just milk on this specific day in case you're wondering, and it did give it just that really beautiful bakery look. Again, the sesame seeds really they just do it for me. I am going to cut it open, and they are soft and they are pillowy, and you're also going to see my bread loaf. Don't be judgy. It's okay. We ate it. It tasted fine. It just wasn't the prettiest loaf. I also made blackened seasoning, and I'm saving this recipe for another video that I have coming up, so be on the lookout for that. And I also made cereal. So cereal is something that I make almost every single week. It is a super quick snack. I use this as granola. We use this as cereal, and I have shared this before, so I do have that recipe shared below, as well as the video that I originally made it. But this is the buns. This is what they look like whenever they're cut open. They are soft and they are beautiful. And I will show you what the marshmallows look like as well. They ended up just perfect. So if you are still here, thank you so much for being here. And if you have not subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. It really just helps support the channel and push my videos to other people like you. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.